So there is a woman here that's set to testify. Her name is Amber Forte. I put on my motion or my petition that there was new evidence, new witness. She's testifying on Miss Walsh telling her and waiving her client attorney privilege with giving her information that her lawyer gave her on how they were going about stuff with her lawyer, saying that I was contacting her and her lawyer multiple times a day, that she was being contacted, that I was a coke addict beginning in June of 2022 to present day. She blocked them.
Our survey said.
Beep, 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 beep.
Yes, as far as that argument goes.
Yes, Bella, what is up? It is called perjury. I mean, perjury is like a serious fucking issue. And I just cannot believe that you get on platforms and you say that, oh my God, I would never do that. Bitch, you committed so much perjury. I mean, how are you going to get around that? It's just going to be...
I'm just trying to gather my thoughts. Bear with me.
What Miss Walsh is doing is she is speculating. She is inserting herself with what she deems she thinks. She is speculating. She is inserting herself with what she deems she thinks. She is speculating. She is inserting herself with what she deems she thinks. I'm here on new issues, and there is no... the reason that anything was issued in Broomfield is because they found her a credible witness. I have the findings here today. That was not something that was put in evidence or brought up at our last hearing.
I'm going to go sort of in the order that you testified on direct, because that's the order my notes are in.
Okay.
So it may be a little bit of back and forth. As an initial matter, you testified that Ms. Walsh had said, quote, "let the credible one explain," end quote. You said that because the court in Colorado found that Ms. Walsh was credible and that you are not credible. Is that correct?
I said that because that's what Ms. Walsh puts before she speaks when she makes any statements.
Okay, and the court in Colorado found that Ms. Walsh was credible and that you are not, right?
The courts in Colorado said that Ms. Walsh was the only credible witness here today.
Correct, and so that implies that you are not credible.
That would imply that I was not credible, and nor were the other witnesses.
Okay, so let's talk about the other witnesses. The other witnesses were your friends Jamie Abeda and Sarah King, right?
I knew Jamie Abeda. Sarah King, that was the first time I've ever met her.
She drove from her home state to be there for you at that hearing, right?
I have no idea why she drove there, actually.
She advised, okay, that's fine. I want to direct your attention to the transcript in this case. So Ms. King and Ms. Abeda were working together and were both hanging out with you, right?
We were when?
Both during the night before the hearing.
We had dinner the night before, was it 2 nights before the hearing? We had dinner. And I'm trying to recall. Yeah, Saturday. I flew in Saturday.
I don't need that part. Thank you. You were hanging out socially with Ms. King and Ms. Abeda before that hearing, right?
On Saturday.
Sure. Before the hearing.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you elicited testimony from Mr. Barnes that Ms. Walsh had conscripted Ms. King into...
Hang on. What's your objection?
Objection. As a lawyer, I was asking Mr. Barnes questions. I don't understand.
Sure.
I don't understand what she's asking me.
What's your question?
Yeah, because you didn't let me finish. You elicited testimony from Mr. Barnes indicating that Ms. King was present as a witness for Ms. Walsh, correct?
That's what, she was listed as a prosecution witness, or a petitioner witness. So that would be Miss Walsh.
You elicited testimony from Mr. Barnes that that Ms. King was his ex-girlfriend and that she was present for Ms. Walsh, correct?
I never said she was present for Miss Walsh. I said that
Ms. Oriani, we
she
all heard the
testified
testimony.
as a petitioner witness.
Okay, so that's
Yes,
your
and
response.
I
that
wanna
she
get back
was
to that.
there to testify.
Miss Walsh's attorney moved the courts to these two people that were supposedly supposed to be witnesses that were relevant to the proceeding, not to contempt, and they were only supposed to be held there to testify to relevant material to Miss Walsh's current TPO.
Ms. Oriani, I want to be clear. I'm trying to highlight the fact that you, through Mr. Barnes, elicited testimony into sort of suggesting that Ms. King was his ex-girlfriend and was there for Ms. Walsh, and suggesting there was some surreptitious thing going on. I'm trying to clarify the fact that Ms. King and Ms. were there for you in Colorado.
Wait, so I'm being questioned
Correct.
on the way that I question somebody?
No.
Yes.
Well, okay. The way I'm taking it is she's saying when you were examining Mr. Barnes, you asked him about Miss King being his ex-girlfriend and the fact that she was there in Colorado as Miss Walsh's witness. And that's the testimony you listed it from him, correct?
He just said that that Sarah King was his ex-girlfriend, and Sarah King was a petitioner witness.
Okay, all right. So
Okay.
was she there? But you were hanging out with Miss King socially prior?
Miss King had a hotel room separate from where I was staying, yes.
So on the Sunday before the protection order hearing, which was on March 7th,
Again, relevancy of this line of questioning, but that's fine.
you caused
This is
Ms. King and Ms. Beta to serve a subpoena at Ms. Walsh's home, correct?
absolutely not. I never testified to that in court in Colorado.
I want to direct your attention to page 188 of the transcript from the March 7th hearing. Line 16.
Did I give you that? The book? I think you have the binder, because I was bringing up the different.
But I gave it back to you. The one that had all the writing on it.
Oh, I got it.
Okay.
Page 188, starting at line 16. These are the court's findings just for brevity, but if you prefer, we can go back through Ms. King and Ms. Abeda's testimony.
We can't go back to their testimony, please.
Okay.
What the court found is not what I testified to. Remember, I wasn't credible.
So Ms. King and Ms. Abeda were not initially under subpoena, right?
Initially, no.
And I asked the court to request that they remain to discuss something that had happened the night before the hearing, correct?
And the judge instructed she would only hold them there if it was relevant to your case today, not with the contempt, because you'd have to file outside of the court because that was a separate matter. And you told the judge that they were relevant for the TPO that Ms. Walsh had already previously filed.
That's all correct. Okay, so both Ms. King and Ms. Abeda testified, right?
They both did.
And they both testified that they had served a subpoena. They both testified they had served one subpoena at Ms. Walsh's home, right?
That's correct. One subpoena at
And they both testified that they did that at your direction, correct?
100% no. That's not what they testified to.
Okay, well, let me find it.
Ms. King is on page 130.
Baby, please.
140.
Hold on, I'm going to have my paralegal help me really quick because my PDF is not functioning.
Okay, that's fine.
And when you do find it, it's 140. If that helps. Paragraph 18. It's okay. I think I've held that up enough today.
The Wi-Fi in here too.
I can read it. I have it right here.
Well, I would, if you want to read it, you can while I'm trying to fix this, and then we can talk about that. Thank you.
All right, let's start off with your name, Sarah King. Ms. King, how do you know Ms. Oriani? I actually met her through true crime. I was into true crime and I watched her stuff on YouTube. You just want me to like read it all, or do you want me to go to the part where she talks about?
I just want to know the part where she talks about.
That's going to be on.
Hang on, I think that I can get to it now.
Okay. Well, she says.
It is on page 144.
Mine says 143.
Well, no, I'm looking at a different part. So I'm looking at starting at page 143.
Oh, 143. Okay.
Where Ms. King testifies on lines 23. The question is, so you were hired by Ms. Abeda to do what? Ms. King says to serve papers. And she said, how much did she pay you? And she said, we have not settled that yet. Mm-hmm. Then she says that Ms. Abeda gave her papers to serve. It was, and Ms. Oriani, it was a subpoena for who is Ms. Walsh's husband, right?
Allegedly.
Well,
She told me that it was her. I knew Walsh as her. They were. What was it? Separated.
Okay, it's the husband. They were. It was a subpoena for Walsh.
Correct.
At Ms. Walsh.
Yeah, I don't know what his title is. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. But he lives with her, right?
I have no idea.
The address that this was served at was Ms. Walsh's home the night before the hearing, correct?
I didn't provide the address.
Ms. Oriani, you were present at the hearing just like I was.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Abeda and Ms. King served. The dispute was over one or two subpoenas. It wasn't over one was served.
That wasn't the only dispute.
They served Sean Walsh a subpoena at his home address, correct?
I did not supply an address for anything to do with this.
I didn't ask if you supplied an address.
So I don't know where they went. I don't know who owns the home.
Ms. Oriani, you're skirting the issue. What I'm saying is a subpoena was served at his home, correct?
It was served at a residence, that he was at. I don't know whose home it is. I don't know that. Yes, he was. I don't know.
Well, you now know it was Miss Walsh's house, wasn't it?
Well, was it her house? Was it his house? I don't know that. I'm not going to testify.
You know now that it was her house, don't you?
Or do you know if she lived there?
Miss Walsh or Mr. Walsh?
We'll start with Miss Walsh.
Yes. Do I believe that Miss Walsh lives there now? Yes. Do I believe that Mr. Walsh lives there now? I have no idea. Before, I have no idea. I did not know where any of these people lived.
But he was served with a subpoena at that home.
And I
correct?
did not supply this address that they went to. I don't know what to tell you.
Was he being subpoenaed? Somebody subpoenaed him. Who was subpoenaing? I'm not saying
I subpoenaed two people on February 17th or 18th.
Okay. And so you just said, go find Mr. Walsh, but I don't know where he lives. And so then
correct, because I was being accused of stalking. I wasn't going to look up anybody.
Okay, so you're saying that they got him served somewhere And how they found that address, you don't know, and you don't know what that address was at the time. That's what you're telling me.
Yes, because that's what my process server said. And actually, I talked to my process server and I said, I got a quash subpoena here, emailed her that on February 28th when Miss Zimmerman quashed the minor child subpoena, sent it over to her, because I was under the impression that these were actually already served, because I thought that on February 18th when I had gotten them and she went and did all that, I thought that they were done.
Okay,
I had no idea.
But my question is, that day that somebody showed up to serve Mr. Walsh, even though you were the one that wanted him subpoenaed,
Yes,
you had
correct.
no idea how they got that address.
100%.
Okay, all right, next question.
Okay, so the court found that you caused that subpoena to be served, and that you also caused a subpoena to be served on Ms. Walsh's minor child, even though that had been quashed, right?
The courts found what?
I can
courts
refer you to
didn't
page
rule on that.
188 of the transcript.
I didn't believe that the courts ruled on that because they said that they wouldn't rule on.
Okay. The court did rule on that. She said, I'm going to leave that up to the police and the district attorney's office to figure out whether or not they believe probable cause exists. And she is referring to violation of protection order. But I can tell you that I did not find Ms. Abeda's testimony or Ms. King's testimony credible, either that there was nothing about what happened in the serving of the subpoenas, and there were 2 subpoenas served. I don't find that it was credible to assert anything, but that was done only for the purpose of harassment. That was done. There is no legitimate reason, first of all, for the minor child BAM served. I quashed that. Let me double check my date on that. I had quashed the protection order back on the 20th of February. She is referring to the fact that is a court finding that both subpoenas were served, that it was not timely, and that it was done solely for the purpose of harassment. I next want to address
Was there a
Ms.
question there?
Oriana.
Was that,
Okay,
was she testifying?
listen, stop. What was, before we got to that, what was pending was Ms. Zimmerman asked you, did the court find that you, meaning you, Ms. Oriani, caused the subpoenas to be served? You said,
And I'm saying that
let me talk. You said no, that the court never ruled on that issue, which the question pending was whether you caused the subpoenas to be served. And Ms. Zimmerman, was your point to try to impeach her?
Yes, Your Honor. And it was also to impeach her because she previously, during her direct, indicated that no subpoenas had been served and that the entire thing was made up when she was talking about the CAD reports.
no, I was reading what the CAD report said.
Okay, she had you read that for purposes of impeachment, okay? But you can respond.
I'm going to leave that up to the police and the district attorney's office.
As to whether there's probable cause.
Correct.
But she then goes on, the magistrate then went on to say that she didn't find Miss Abeda.
So
and
what,
their
that's what I'm
testimony
asking.
correct.
What's the question? Did the
Ms.
court?
Oriani, that was impeachment for your previous testimony indicating that no subpoenas were served.
I never
So
said
what
that no
she's asking
subpoenas
you,
were served.
listen, so what she's asking you is that not a ruling the court made?
I never said that.
Yes or no? Is that accurate what you read? Okay?
Yeah, what she just read, the court said absolutely. I never
Okay.
said that there was no subpoena served.
Okay. Let's move on.
You asked me if I orchestrated. You asked me if I orchestrated the subpoenas, and I said no, absolutely not. That's what
I
you
didn't.
asked
I asked
me.
if you caused them to be served.
I did not cause them to be served. Did the
You
courts
testified
find
a
that
moment
I
ago
did?
that you testified a
me.
moment ago that you obtained them and thought they had already been served, indicating that you did cause them to be served. So I don't have any other
On the
questions.
20, on the when I testified to, I got them through the courts on the 18th. I filed for them. Jamie Abeda had to go down to the. I don't live in Colorado. She went down to Broomfield to get them. There was actually 5, not 2, 5. I never testified to any of this because you didn't cross-examine me.
And Ms. Oriani, one of those subpoenas was for Ms. Walsh's daughter, who's 14 years old, right?
And that was quashed. And it was.
Okay, that's not her
saw-
question. Listen to her question. So that's a yes or no. Was one of them for Miss Walsh's daughter, who's 14?
Yes, who Miss Walsh put into the TPO. She put her daughter in the TPO. Said that she gave her a picture of
Ms.
me.
Oriani, that was a yes or no question from me.
It is a yes or no question.
Yes, I'm not
Thank you.
disputing that.
Okay.
Okay. So now I want to move on. You have made a big deal out of the fact that Ms. Walsh is referring to you as a stalker. The court found that you were stalking Ms. Walsh, correct?
I don't know if they use, I don't, did they use the word stalker? I mean, the court, whatever the court found, can you refer, like, I mean, can you show
Yes.
me?
If you go to page 204, starting at line 14, it says, so it brings the court back to 183602. That is the stalking statute in Colorado. And she explains, beginning there, the different categories of stalking. And then she states that she previously thought this fell under 1C only, but now believes it also falls under 1B. So Magistrate Russell in Colorado found specifically
Yes, Miss Russell believed that two subpoenas, Magistrate Russell believed that two subpoenas were served, one which was to the quash subpoena of her minor daughter, and she believed that that's what had happened. Is that what?
No, she's asking
Yes,
you,
but
did the magistrate rule that you were stalking Miss Walsh?
Yes, she reads a bunch of different things that you could either cause a third party to. She believed that I caused a third party to go to Miss Walsh's home,
Did
which is a
Magistrate
form of
Russell
stalking, I
found-
guess.
What's your question?
Magistrate Russell found that you were stalking Ms. Walsh pursuant to Colorado Revised Statute 1314-106, correct?
Yes, I left with a PPO. It was for stalking.
Okay. So in referring to you as a stalker, there is a court order identifying you as someone who's stalking Ms. Walsh, correct?
No, not stalking people. No, stalking Miss Walsh.
That's exactly what I said.
No, you said people.
Okay, all right.
I did not.
Keep going.
Okay. Now I want to direct your attention to the document that you most recently provided. And I just have one question. Who are you identifying as a schizoid and then stating that you have that person's medical records?
Who?
That's Exhibit 11. In your text, this is a conversation
That's
about
Sarah
Mr.
King. Sarah King having Kraft and Barnes' medical records. Sarah King.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Isn't this a text with you?
It's a text with me and Miss Walsh and Miss King.
Right.
I'm telling you, in that whole paragraph that you don't have,
Okay.
I'm telling her about it. I'm explaining it.
You say he is a certified
Schizoid.
schizoid, like paperwork. I have his medical records. The question pending is, who are you talking about?
Kraft and Barnes.
Okay.
Okay, so previously, when during the conversation with Mr. Barnes, where he was scared that you were blackmailing him with medical records, that came from you.
No, it
right?
did not. I told Miss Walsh what Sarah King had. I never said I was blackmailing anybody.
You advised Ms. Walsh in this text that we're looking at right now in Exhibit 11 that you have his medical records and that he's a schizoid, right?
That's what you just said.
So you,
No,
Yes,
it's
and
your-
answered. Yes,
I'm
that's
asking-
yes.
okay, she's admitting yes that she's talking
Yes,
about Mr. Barnes.
I'm admitting to what I'm allowed to testify to the context of it. No, and it nowhere there says
No,
blackmail.
no, you're not. This is cross, so you can answer yes and no questions.
Okay.
Tell the truth. The truth helps people.
That they found her a credible witness. She's distressing me.
And these fucking idiots that have 52 people watching them and all their alts, nobody gives a flying fuck what they have to say. All right? You should ask yourselves why they're talking about it now.
I know, and I just told you that people do things all the time that cause distress. I mean,
I can show that.
but that's not everything is
But
a
her,
stalking situation. That's the part that you're missing.
this person that's here to testify is here to testify that that's what she was doing to me because of her.
Tell the truth, don't troll, and shit won't fucking happen to you.
So she was like, I was engaging in this. I was doing it for her. And I was like, well, that's third party. That's what that is. And she's here today to testify to what has gone on after that.
But this
And that they reached out to her.
If this lady chose to stalk you and menace you, because of things that Miss Walsh said, then shame on her, okay? But Miss Walsh isn't the one. You haven't shown, just like last time, that she's engaging you. It's the same conduct as last time. She was talking to other people. They said they want to report your YouTube channel. They talked about talking to your ex-wife's attorney. Yes.
I couldn't link that they were doing it at her request last time. I can link that this time.
Listen, she has no orders against her. So she's...
I know that I'm trying to get in order so that she can't do that. That's what I'm here to do.
And that's more of a civil conspiracy claim.
I thought that.
Like, she's got free speech rights.
I thought it was third party you cannot ask a third party.
If you prove somebody's a stalker and they're coming and they're directly contacting you, then the court can say, knock it off and don't try to do.
That's what
and we talked about this. You had a hearing the last time and you didn't prevail. And
that's why I'm here to try to prevail, and the way that I can do that is by having my witness, myself, and Ms. Walsh on the stand to show what has taken place. I can't do that, and you're supposed to take this at prima facie, so you're supposed to take it at, these are new allegations. I have an opportunity to have an evidentiary hearing.
New allegations, but it's based on the same type of conduct where you're saying that she's acting in concert with other people, and then those other people are now doing things to you. That's what was decided last time as well, okay?
That was bad. That was bad. She's crazy.
Under the penalty of perjury, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? You do. All right, go ahead and have a seat.
What the court found is not what I testified to. Remember, I wasn't credible.
This is a preview file. For example use only. This
The only credible witness here today.
For example use only.
And frankly, is the only credible witness here today regarding her level of emotion.
Remember, I wasn't credible.
Ms. Oriani, are you ready to proceed this morning?
Yes, I am, Your Honor. Can I just finish playing this one?
Yeah. Ohio plays by amazing rules, unlike Colorado.